Cities Skylines 2 is just a copy of Cities Skylines 1 without the DLCs and expansions, or, well, that's at least what people believe when they are sometimes just watching the announcement trailer. And I will be honest, I don't blame them. Developers and publishers have been doing exactly that for years, right? They bring out the next game in the series, but they just make a few changes to the base game and then remove the DLCs and expansions to sell them to you again. And yes, I'm looking at you, The Sims, and well, I'm not just here to bash on EA, but I'm also looking at you, Paradox, who has been doing this in the past more often than not. So, is Cities Skylines 2 the same? No, thankfully not, because the developers were really smart about it. They immediately started to reach out to bigger YouTubers who have been covering Paradox games for years, give them early access to the game, so that they could tell their own communities in their own words how they feel about the game and what changed. Then they started to do their own feature series where they cover like all the gameplay mechanics, and they even started to do live streams to really win the people over. And now they are working on winning all the people over which are normally not that connected to the Cities Skylines game and to the second one. And the really cool thing is, as I said, they basically took Cities Skylines 1 with all the expansions and DLCs and now use it as their base game for Cities Skylines 2. So that means most of the DLCs and expansions will be in the base game. Like, let me give you a few examples here. Industry, parks and recreation, tourism, university, city services, stadiums, like all those things came in with DLCs and expansions, and now they are just there. They are just in Cities Skylines 2. And that should already tell you enough to know that this is not just a base game without the expansions and DLCs, but we can even go further than that. Let's have a look at one of the major features and major issues in Cities Skylines 1 and how they have been working on this. Remember roads? Remember driving? You probably do if you've played the first one, because especially at the beginning, the whole system was absolutely broken and nothing really worked. Did they fix it over time? Yes, but there was a major issue. Even the developers had to admit they cannot completely fix it, because for that they would have had to rewrite a lot of code, and a lot of mechanics were linked to the driving mechanics of the AI, and it would basically break the game more than it would actually help, so they couldn't really fix it in the first one. Good news, they did in the second one. It is now much easier to work on your roads, to edit them, and to make smaller changes to the road system itself without having to redo a major part of the town or city you have been working on. And the same goes with the driving AI. Like, one of the major new features in the game is now that all the cars will use all the lanes on the road. Yeah, that's right. If you're now putting down a 4-lane road, all the cars will use all 4 lanes. I know that's a bit hilarious when you think about it, that this is now like something really big and important, but it showed you how broken it was in the first game, because everyone was just using the left lane no matter how many lanes there were. What was the reason for that? Well, the driving AI had one directive: driving from A to B, or get the character from A to B in the fastest way possible. And they changed that in the second one. In the second one, yes, going from A to B in the fastest way possible is still what they are trying to achieve, but they are also now looking out for what is the safest way to do it, what is the cheapest way to do it, and they even calculate things which are happening on the road, because there are no road incidents. Yes, roads can be blocked off by incidents, and thankfully the AI will basically listen to radio, so to speak, and they will know, oh, there's a road incident. Well, then I will probably take the longer way around, which will still be faster because the road is not blocked and I don't have to stand around. And they are doing that everywhere. Like, they will now calculate how can they go from A to B the fastest, but how will they do this with all the things in effect, like open transport systems, what other ways they can use, and so on and so forth. So the whole road feeling should be much, much better now in the base game. And that they actually did that is such a major improvement, because sometimes you had to do some silly things in the first one to make sure that the flow of the traffic will not stop. Like, I was somebody who used a lot of roundabouts in the first one to basically change that, right? That my traffic will not stop and that I not get traffic jam because the AI wasn't really that smart. And this really shows you that even with those smaller and major systems being improved, that this game is not just a carbon copy without expansion and DLCs. They took all the DLCs and expansions, or well, most of them as we know, put them in the base game, worked on that, and even worked on the systems which were kind of broken in the first one. Speaking of which, in the next video we will take a look at the economy of the game, because that also got a major rework, and we will cover that in the next video. So make sure to subscribe to not miss out on that. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like. And if you still want to say something about it, leave also a comment down below. And be nice to each other. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Bye bye.